There is a 5-gallon bucket sitting behind my woodshed right now. Dark red, half full of rainwater, a handful of grass clippings floating on the surface. Every female mosquito within 100 yards of this farmhouse is flying toward that bucket to lay her eggs. And not one of those eggs is going to hatch. It will not harm a single honeybee. It will not touch the butterflies in my wife's flower beds. It will not hurt the dog, the chickens, or the children running barefoot through the yard after supper. It does one thing. It ends the mosquito before she ever has wings. My name is Samuel Byler. I farm 40 acres outside of Sugar Creek, Ohio. I have kept bees since I was 19 years old, when my father handed me a veil and a smoker and told me to pay attention. I have not been bitten by a mosquito on this property in 9 years. No zapper, no spray truck, no contract, no chemical, no monthly bill. Stay with me through this whole video, because the last thing I am going to show you is the one place on your property you have never thought to treat. The place that was quietly running a mosquito hatchery right under your nose all summer long. I will tell you what that place is at the end. But first, tell me in the comments where you are and how bad the mosquitoes are this year. Bad enough that the children have given up on the yard after supper? Tell me your state. I read every one. Now here is the thing most people have completely backwards. Mosquitoes do not come from the air. They do not drift in from your neighbor's pond or blow in from the tree line. Every mosquito biting you in your own backyard was born in your own backyard. In water. In standing water. And not very much of it. A bottle cap of water caught in the crease of an old tarp is enough. A clogged gutter holding half a cup of rainwater for 4 days is enough. The little clay saucer under the pot of geraniums on your porch steps is enough. A female mosquito lays up to 300 eggs at a time in less water than you can hold in your cupped hand. That is the entire game. If standing water sits on your property for more than 4 days, you are running a hatchery. If you eliminate it or treat it so the eggs cannot survive, you have solved the problem at its source, not at your arm, at the water. I learned this watching my father do it first. Every Saturday morning in summer, he walked the whole property with a coffee can, the blue one that sat on the shelf above the mudroom door from April through September every year I was growing up. Every saucer, every tarp pocket, every wheelbarrow that had caught rain during the week. He tipped them all. He called it walking the line. One morning when I was about 10, walking alongside him behind the chicken coop, I asked why it mattered. He looked at the water running out into the grass and said, "The mosquito is not your problem in July, Samuel. She is your problem in June when she is still in the water. End her there." I have walked my own line every Saturday morning since I had land of my own to walk. Here is what you need this weekend. The low spot in the east pasture, the cattle trough, the rain barrel by the back porch. He had a second method. And that method is what I am going to show you right now. Here is what you need this weekend. 3 things. A 5-gallon bucket, dark coloured. Orange or red or brown or black, not white. A few handfuls of grass clippings or dead leaves. And 1 container of something called mosquito bits from the lawn and garden section of any hardware store. About $17. Set the bucket somewhere out of sight. Behind the shed, under the hedge, away from where you eat and sit and gather. You are not placing a decoration. You are placing a trap. Fill it halfway with water. Toss in the grass clippings and a few dead leaves, just enough to make it look swampy and neglected. Why dark-coloured? Because a female mosquito hunting for a place to lay her eggs is looking for water that looks like the dark shaded pools her species evolved in over millions of years. A white bucket in full sun does not read as safe to her. A dark bucket sitting in shade does. Why the clippings? Because as they break down, they release the same compounds that decaying vegetation releases in a natural pond. The scent that tells her this water is worth her eggs. You are not building a swamp. You are building a counterfeit swamp. The most attractive piece of real estate on your property as far as she is concerned. Now here is what turns it into a graveyard. One heaping spoonful of mosquito bits across the surface of the water. Do not stir it. One spoonful floating. What you have just added is something called BTI. Bacillus thuringiensis israelensis. I will not say that name again. It is a bacterium, not a synthetic chemical. A living organism found naturally in soils all over the world, first identified in a desert pond in 1977. And what makes it unlike anything the pest control industry sells you is this. It kills exactly one category of creature. When a mosquito larva eats a particle of BT, it develops a perforation in its digestive tract. Within 24 hours, it is dead. It works on mosquito larvae, black fly larvae, and fungus gnat larvae. That is the complete list. Not bees, not butterflies, not dragonflies, which hunt adult mosquitoes themselves. Not fish, not frogs, not the dog drinking from a puddle. The reason it is so specific is that the gut of a mosquito larva is alkaline in a particular way, and the toxin in BTI only activates in that exact chemistry. A honeybee's gut is completely different. So is yours. Germany has run BTI in their national mosquito program since 1981. Pennsylvania uses it. Maryland uses it. They drop it from aircraft over marshland. It is the safest mosquito control product that exists, and it has been for 40 years. So why is the company spraying your yard not using it? Because it costs $17 and lasts all summer, and once you know about it, you never call them again. A monthly spray contract runs $60 to $200 a visit. That math is not complicated. One spoonful in your bucket kills every egg laid in it for the next 2 to 4 weeks. When it breaks down, you add another spoonful. That is the entire maintenance schedule. Now here is how you make this work across a whole property. One bucket behind one shed will not clear a half-acre lot. You need at least 3. One on each side of the house, placed away from where people gather, always away from you. You are drawing the mosquito to the wrong side of the field. I keep one behind the woodshed on the north side, one behind the bee yard on the east, and one tucked behind the rosemary on the west side of my wife Ruth's herb garden, where she is less likely to notice it and ask me to move it somewhere tidier. She has a clear idea of how the yard ought to look. 22 years of marriage has taught me which conversations are worth having. For the places where a bucket will not fit, the drainage ditch along the road, the low spot in the pasture, the stock tank by the barn, the same product comes in a different form. Small brown discs about the size of a donut. The label calls them Mosquito dunks. You toss one in. Each disc treats about 100 square feet of standing water and holds for 30 days. I keep a box in the mudroom and drop one into the rain barrel on the first day of every month from May through September. Takes 4 seconds. And here is the one most homeowners never think about. Your gutters. If your gutters have leaves or pine needles or the slow buildup that collects within a year of cleaning, they are holding water. Not much, just enough. Sprinkle a spoonful of mosquito bits into the gutter channel every few weeks during mosquito season. You have just treated what is likely the single largest mosquito breeding site on your property. Most people never know the gutters are doing this. The mosquitoes have always known. Now, one word about the part of this system that does not come from a hardware store. Walking the property. Once a week in the cool of the morning, take a coffee can and go around the whole yard. Every saucer under every pot. The wheelbarrow leaned against the fence. The dog dish nobody fills anymore. The fold in the tarp over the firewood. The bird bath. Tip them all. Turn them over. Walk the line the way my father walked it. 5 minutes. Once a week. The mosquito starts in the water. That is where you end her. Now, the buckets and dunks handle the eggs and the larvae, but there are adult mosquitoes already flying right now that are not going to wait for your bucket. They're going to find you on the porch tonight. So we handle them too. And this second piece is also completely safe for every bee and butterfly on your property. What we use is essential oils, real extracts, cedarwood, rosemary, clove, garlic, lemongrass, peppermint, not fragrances, concentrated plant compounds that people on every continent have used to repel biting insects for thousands of years because they had nothing else, and they worked. Do not use the bottle that hooks to your garden hose. The spray comes out too fine and burns through too fast. Use a pump-up garden sprayer, the kind you fill by hand and carry on your shoulder. About $40 at the hardware store, and it lasts a lifetime if you take care of it. Fill it 3/4 full of water. Shake your oil bottle well. Pour in what the label recommends, and shake the whole sprayer. The water goes cloudy like diluted milk. Now spray. But here is where most people waste the whole effort. Do not spray into open air. The oils evaporate in minutes and you have accomplished nothing. Spray the underside of every leaf in your hedges and bushes, the eaves of the porch, the shaded side of the woodpile, the underside of your deck boards. During daylight hours, adult mosquitoes are not flying. They are resting in the cool shade on the undersides of leaves and in the sheltered hollows of your shrubs, waiting for evening. Hit those resting places and you reach the entire adult population in a single afternoon. One important thing. Do not spray flowers that are open and in bloom. Essential oils will not kill a honeybee, but they will discourage her from landing on a treated blossom. Spray everything around the flowers, not the flowers themselves. Ruth noticed that before I did. I can do the whole farmstead, the porch, the kitchen door shrubs, the wood stack, the chicken yard fence line in about 45 minutes. It holds 2 to 3 weeks. After a heavy rain, I do it again. Less than an hour a month. A few dollars in oil. Now, I told you at the beginning there was one more thing. The place on your property you have never thought to treat. Here it is. Your shed, or your barn, or your garage. Whatever covered structure sits near the house with the door open through the summer months. Mosquitoes breed in the still, dark water that collects in any container, sitting on a floor out of the wind and out of the sun. The old paint can with an inch of rainwater in the bottom. The bucket you used to wash the dog last month. The watering can tipped sideways near the door. The wheelbarrow you pulled inside before a storm. You walk past them every single day and never see them for what they are. My neighbour Eli Mast, who has farmed the property just east of ours for going on 30 years, showed me this after a summer when nothing I was doing seemed to be making a dent. We walked his barn together one evening after chores. He found 7 containers holding standing water within 20 feet of the barn door. He looked at me and said, "Samuel, you cannot win the yard if you are losing the barn." I went home and walked my own shed that same night. I found 4. Tip everything inside the same way you tip everything outside. Treat any container you cannot drain with a spoonful of mosquito bits. walk that line too. I have not had a bad mosquito year since. I want to leave you with the part that matters beyond the bucket and the sprayer. Mosquitoes kill more human beings every year than any other creature on Earth. Not bears, not snakes, not anything with teeth or claws. Mosquitoes. West Nile virus is now present in every state in this country. Eastern equine encephalitis kills a third of the people who contract it. Malaria still takes more than 500,000 lives a year in other parts of the world, most of them children. This is not a nuisance. It is serious. And the way most Americans have been told to handle it, sign the contract, let them spray, pay the monthly bill, is not the only way. It is not even the most effective way. It is the way that keeps someone else in business at your expense. The honeybee population in this country has been in decline for 20 years. I watch it from my own bee yard. I talk to beekeepers across 3 counties, and every one of them will tell you the same thing. The lawn care trucks driving through in summer are doing damage that takes years to see and longer to recover from. BT. I does not harm bees. Essential oils applied correctly do not harm bees. Tipping a saucer of standing water harms nothing except the mosquito's future. The whole system I have just walked you through costs less than a single professional spray visit. Takes 1 Saturday to set up, and you can run it yourself for the rest of your life. No contract, no chemical, no harm done to anything that belongs on your property. This is what plain people have done for as long as I can remember. Not because we are smarter, because we had no other option and we had to find what actually worked. And what worked was this. The mosquito problem is a water problem, and the water problem is something you can solve with $17 and 1 Saturday morning. Tell me in the comments what you find when you walk your property this week. How many containers holding water did you never notice before? I want to hear. And if you put out a bucket this weekend, tell me that too. Subscribe if you want to keep getting this kind of knowledge back. Because next time, I am going to show you what my grandmother kept in a glass jar on the kitchen windowsill every August that kept every fly out of that kitchen for 60 summers running. 1 jar, 1 piece of rolled paper, 1 ingredient from the pantry you would not guess in 10 tries. It worked 100 years before sticky tape existed, and it still works better than anything you can buy today. Until then, walk the line, tip the water, and remember that the people who built this country with their hands knew things we are only now beginning to remember.